Well, hey guys, welcome back to the Sibling Trap. I am your host, Barry, with my co host and beautiful lady, Katrina. Today, we've got some stuff to get deep into. All right, guys. So, the topic today is making your happiness a priority after a breakup and how you do that from a man and a woman's perspective. Katie, would
Okay.
you like to start?
Yeah. So Barry brought this up to me last week, and I was like, I feel like it's too soon because I'm not like on the other side of divorce yet. Feels like it's going to take an eternity, but I will get there. But I thought that something that I could expand on or like offer insight to is like how to stay positive like through a breakup because there's so much toxicity and like the energy is just so heavy that it's like how people have asked me like how are you handling yourself so well, like how are you getting through this, and I'm like, to me it just feels like a no-brainer, like everyone can do this. But even you brought up a couple weeks ago, like, how do you stay so positive, and I was like, oh, that's I don't know. So let's dive in. Also, apologies if you hear my chair squeaking. I got a new chair and my kids like to act like it's a freaking jungle gym. And now it's squeaking. So that's a great investment.
They're just testing it for you to make sure it works properly. Okay.
They're like, mom has to be on Zoom calls all day long. Let's make it sound like she's farting like all the time. And then like, that's great. Keep people guessing. So just don't move. But okay. So there are a few things that I energetically will do like throughout this conflict high conflict stage of a breakup that some people forget about. It's like, okay, number one, someone is always going to have a perceived opinion of you no matter what you say or what you do. Like you could say the perfect thing, the perfect response to any sort of question, and they're still going to have this opinion like you're the problem, which, honestly, we're all part of the problem. And everything's on you and like you're to blame for everything. But honestly, it's like knowing that I'm not going to win any fans going into it. I can energetically like detach from the outcome because it's like the outcome's already done. We're just like sifting through all the weeds right now. Nothing that I say or do will change his mind or her mind, right? And like it's silly to say, but like your breath is so powerful. When I hear like or just feel some energy coming at me, like I just pause and I take a really deep, slow breath because then I have time to think about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it instead of just like immediately reacting and jumping in, like jumping down their throat. Do you find that to be true to you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I've had to work on a lot, especially through the deeper breakups, just because you don't really see things on the surface as much. And being reserved is kind of how you keep yourself out of that toxicity, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty, very guilty, just like everyone I'm sure is, of immediately responding and saying things that you don't mean, doing the whole back and forth tidbit, and it's exhausting. And I learned through that exhaustion that if I want to feel better about this breakup or about I've been through a divorce and it was the same way. It felt like it took forever because I played into the whole toxic back and forth arguing and trying to push the blame on people. And once you stop trying to blame each other, I think you start realizing that you're both to blame for a lot of things, and you should just accept it and try to be as positive as possible moving forward.
Yeah. And especially when there's kids involved, it's like you want to make sure that you're putting forth an example of like how to effectively communicate without being vindictive. So like one thing that I
Right.
have as a boundary is like if there's something that's heated, this goes for anyone in my life, honestly. If there's like a heated topic or a serious topic, like don't come at me in person. Text me or email me because, a lot of times people can be perceived in a way that's less than kind of like the immediate knee-jerk reactions. Like, of course, I can't control my facial expressions. Like when you come at me with a question I'm not prepared to hear. So, it's being really firm on like, hey, let's talk about this in text later. Like, can you text me about this and we'll talk about it that way? It's not like And some could say like it's a way to control the narrative and control the situation. But honestly, I see it as like a way to be respectful and not as heated. And sometimes giving that time to reply and not having to do it immediately. Like I want to be able to speak from my heart in a way that I'm proud of and not like, heated and frustrated and like this isn't going to solve anything. So like let's just take this in a different format and like being really like assertive about it. It's like I want to talk about this with you, but I don't want to do it in person. Like let's talk about it over text because then it's like you're showing that you want to make it right and make it better, but in a way that works for both of you. What's your experience with
Right.
that?
I have kind of a different perspective from you, actually.
Mhm.
I like to talk things out like immediately, and I know that that might bring out that toxic, uh, like conversation. But in all honesty, the type of person that I have been,
Mhm.
probably not the best. And we're gonna get into that in the next one, about like anxious attachment styles and things. But that's like the thing is like if we're supposed to, if we're gonna have a conversation about something that's really important to me, especially if it's between like me and my significant other, like I want to have that conversation immediately, because if I don't, I'm gonna have like this shit on my brain for the next like day or 2 days or however long it takes for us to, cool off from this heated argument or whatever it is, which like I said isn't the most healthy, because it just sits there like a mouse wheel in my brain and like running over everything that's happening and everything that I should be saying and everything that could be said and everything from her point of view. And it's just like it's a lot to
Yeah.
process at the same time, having to take care of my kid or, go to work. And it's just, it can be very detrimental at times, very, very destructive at times. So like but it takes me to get myself out of that situation. Like it shouldn't be on the other person. I shouldn't force them into having this conversation just because I want to have it right now. No, not a lot of people are like that, and it's not fair to the other person. And that's just me, growing. Oh,
Mhm.
but like think about it from that perspective. It makes it a lot easier to collect your thoughts with the time, right? If you have time before you want to talk about something important, it gives you that time to cool off and to think about what you want to say and how you want to say it and how you should deliver it, because it can be very mean. Like I have terrible facial expressions too. Like people would be like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to react that way," and it'd be like, "Well, I mean, how'd you expect? Like,
Yeah.
you're coming at me about such and such, and it's just makes me uncomfortable." And nobody wants to be uncomfortable, especially if you're going to be having conversations like this a lot, which you should be with your partner. You should
Mhm.
be talking through things, maybe not right then and there, like I said, but you can't just leave that kind of thing open forever. And that's something that my exes are kind of guilty about. A lot of them just shut off their emotions and said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about this." And it's like, no, well, no, we need to talk about this. We need to work through this, or else we're not going to last. And they probably didn't care to last anyway. But whatever, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, and it's like I said, it can be very toxic and very upsetting to have those conversations right off the bat. So if time does help, then by all means. But sometimes you really do need to just sit down and have that talk right then and there. And it could be something really small as, like leaving the toilet seat up or something like that, something dumb. And it could be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, well, let's just talk about this real quick. Hey, look, I'm sorry I did this. I'll work on it." And that's
Yeah.
all it, sometimes that's all it takes, or that's all that's needed. But like a lot of times those deeper talks, you got to think about it. So time
Well, it's
helps.
like also it's when you have the conversation too. One of my clients for virtual assistants, she's a communications expert. So like I've learned a lot through like creating her content and like doing all of her presentations and things. And a lot of times it's like, when are you bringing up the conversation? Are you bringing up the conversation when you know that they're preoccupied and busy with other things, or is it like a good time? So if you have a conversation that you want to be having, it's like, hey, I really want to talk to you about this. When in your schedule do you have time for that today? Or do you have time tomorrow to do it? Because then it gives you both time to prepare ahead of time, like what you wanted to say. And if it's like something that's really important to you, like, and you want to have that conversation, like just writing down notes so you know what you want to say. So it's like you're still making momentum and like forward movement in that way. So it's like I'm kind of talking about this, but I'm like writing it all on my own to bring it up later. So
That's
maybe
really,
that.
really healthy. Yeah. I've never really thought about that, taking notes. I mean, I'm really guilty of like approaching people when they're most unapproachable. I don't know if it's just my timing. My timing sucks. But in my previous experiences, I would send texts while the person was at work, and they would be
uh,
like, "Oh, well, I'm at work. I don't have time to talk about this right now." You know, and I'm like, "Well, when are you going to have time?" And they never ever had time. That was the problem. It was
mhm,
always, "Oh, I'm doing this," or "I'm always doing that," and
right.
that's the detachment style of a relationship, and it was completely opposite of how I felt, and I felt like I was just not seen or heard at
Mhm.
any point. So like there's a way that you can just deflect and just ignore those conversations, and it really hurts. It hurts the other person. You got to think about it from their point of view. Like, yeah, I'm anxious to talk about this because I care. It's not because I want to be controlling or I want to just shove down my point of view down your throat. It's I care enough about us to where I want to have this talk,
Yeah.
so we can move forward. And that was never never that person's motif, I guess. Whatever, more
Oh.
into like happiness and creating happiness really is, it's up to you, honestly, as the individual.
Mhm.
Especially making it a priority after your breakup, because if you make anything else a priority after your breakup, it's pretty toxic, or it could lead you down the wrong path. Something that I've done is just go back to the things that I enjoy doing. Like I'm a nerd. I'm a huge avid gamer. That's something that I've really tied up my time with outside of work, and my kid is doing those things that I used to do all the time that I love to do. Whereas like, I mean, running, especially running. Without running, I don't know where I'd be. And making those kinds of things priority is definitely what has helped a lot. It's helped, my health. It's helped my mental health a lot. And that, I guess, that's what is keeping me positive and keeping me happy. What about
Yeah.
you?
100%. It comes back to like, how are you living your days every day? It's like, are you living your days every day wallowing and like, looking through your timeline, like way back when things were good, or like,
Oh,
like
guilty.
what are you consuming? Like, how are you, if you were a healed person, how would you live your day? Like, you're going to be taking care of your body. You're going to be feeding your body like proper food, not junk food, not drive-through food, not soda. I mean, I'm not going to go on a whole soapbox here, but like there are certain things that you could change in your day to feel, more healthy, just to be like I'm in check, like I've got my health in check, I'm focusing on doing what's right for my body, and I'm like being very intentional about what I'm consuming, whether it's on digital media or food or just the people that you're around. It's like if you're noticing that you're around people who are just kind of negative Nelly or like small town thinking and not inspired, not motivated to do anything with their lives, then it might be time for you to do like an energetic life audit of like, hey, I'm no longer available for this. Like I am in a space where I'm moving forward, and it might not be relatable compared to like the people around you, but that's okay. Like you're okay on your own. You're okay to explore new spaces, because when you let go of old chapters or old friend groups, like so much more opens up for you, but you can't see that until you've let it go.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That is a big one. Cutting out people in your life that aren't serving your best interest. And this is definitely going to ruffle some feathers, but it's just, man, I have a lot of friends. I really do. A lot of them are listening to this podcast. And a lot of them I haven't really made priority in my life through a lot of what I'm going through, just because I'm trying to change, and I'm trying to change for the better. When it comes to like running, I wake up like this morning. I woke up at 4:30, or I was awake before that, but I got up at 4:30, most of my friends that are out drinking and stuff on a Sunday night are probably just going to bed at 4:30, or they're up super late playing video games. And it's like, dude, I can't live that life anymore because I have other priorities and my happiness is my priority. What makes me happy? Waking up at the butt crack of dawn and going for a 5 to 10 mile run. And the reason is, I can't go out and drink all night long and then do that. I'm gonna wake up and be like, oh, I'm still drunk, or oh, I don't feel
Yeah.
good enough to go run, and I'm gonna make excuses, and I'm not here for excuses anymore. Um, I'm not here for making choices that are gonna affect me in that, and that's what it is. Like a lot of my diet and stuff has changed because I can't eat, pizza like every day and expect my body to be okay on a run. Like
Right.
it's just you got to eat healthier and think healthier. And a lot of those people are mad at me right now. Like they're just like, well, yeah, I never hear from you. We never hang out. We never do this anymore. And it's like, yo, dude, I told you, I'm changing. And if you're not part of that change, then I'm sorry. We can still be friends, but my happiness is a priority here. Your
Yeah.
happiness is not my priority, man. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
It goes into like any relationship, really. It's like if you can't grow together, even if you're like on different paths, if you can't grow together and work to like become better, align like next to each other in different lanes, then it's like it's not gonna be sustainable. It's like
Right. Yeah.
it's not the long run.
Like, I can love you from a distance, man, and
Yeah.
wish you the best, but I'm on my own journey. Everybody
Proud of you.
is. That was like my biggest, I wouldn't say setback, but like something that I've learned through a lot of this is how quickly people will just be like, oh, well, that's cool that you're doing all that, but why don't you ever do this with me anymore? And it's like, oh, dude, because of that.
It's not a
you just
priority
kind
for
of
me.
have, yeah, you just kind of have to look at it through my point of view. It's like, I'm changing, and in order for this change to happen, I have to align myself with the people that are helping me change. Like my best friend Scott in California, he's 2,000 miles away, and this dude is the most motivating person. Like he keeps me centered 100%, and I haven't seen him since July. Without that kind of positivity in my life, I don't know where I'd be, because it's just crazy to me that, and he's not perfect. I mean, nobody is, but like the point of it is like he's very, like, just his mentality. He's much like you. Like he's just super positive about everything. And I'm like, dude, I wish I had an ounce of your positivity, like on a daily basis, because it's tough, man. And I don't like seeing things negative, but like I'm a realist. I call myself a realist because I look at things black and white, and there's really no gray area. It's either this is happening or this is not happening, and this is what I need to do to make this happen.
Mm,
And I've adapted that, but he's just very, very positive, has my back when it comes to everything. That's the kind of people you need in your life, especially if you're going to make your own happiness a priority. Because he tells me all the time, he's like, if these people aren't helping you, then why are you still friends with them? Why
yeah.
are you still hanging out with them, or why are you wasting your time with them?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not even here to see it. He just knows,
Yeah.
he knows me really well. So that always helps. But big shout out to you there, Scotty.
Yay. That's awesome. I'm happy you have him. So a few things that like someone could do in the event where they're like going through a breakup or after a breakup, or, just not feeling very aligned in life. What I would suggest or recommend, as a mindset mentor is, it's going to sound a little woo woo, but we do a little woo woo here. Okay. Just hear me out. Okay. So because you are what you consume, like example, I have an entire Pinterest board called New Life, right? It has like different categories, like my energy, my partner, my travel, my new home. And I add things that I really want to have, or the vibe that I want to have, to this board. And I will scroll through it every day. And I will just channel like, this is what's coming. This is what I'm making happen for myself. And then like following accounts on social media that actually inspire you, instead of bringing up like the toxicity and those feelings that are like, less than, or like FOMO, or like all these things that you're like, you don't feel good in your body where you are right now, like just unfollow them. Like nobody is that, I don't know, like it's not that serious, I guess, at the end of the day.
Right.
So that's number one. Definitely like visually, like create something, whether it's a vision board or on Pinterest, like to look at consistently. And then like, if you want to do like binaural beats, which are really powerful on YouTube, they have like kind of subliminal, like positive messages, like really low in the background, just to kind of like listen to that while you're scrolling through the different things or looking at your vision board, to just like have another sensory, like being fed something positive. And then the third thing, I know I've talked to you about this last time when I was in Houston, is scripting. This is such a huge thing. And I know it, like, please, it'll be really cool. So if you try this, let me know. But sitting down and like, if you had an ideal day to yourself, like doing whatever you want, like just write it out like a little story, right? The more you tap into what's possible and what you would like to happen and what you want to call into your life, the more the universe will align like little opportunities for you to make that happen. Or just like at least at the bottom, like raise your vibration and like make you feel a little bit more positive in the day. So if you're feeling really down, like any of these three things plus meditation, like you're solid. It'll help so much. Do you have anything to say to that?
Meditation. Yeah, meditation
Yeah.
is something that has benefited me in ways that I had no idea it could. Really, honestly, so my best friend Scott, his lady Hannah, she sent me a lot on meditation to get me started.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was like kind of tough for me living in, the old apartment and still being in that space, but at the same time trying to find ways to bring my own happiness and clarity. So what I would do is, like try to get it as dark as possible. I had like a blackout mask that I would wear, and I had a couple of YouTube meditation videos or whatever, and I would throw the AirPods in and just listen to that. And I mean, there's a couple times I fell asleep because
Yep.
it was so peaceful, and it just like put me right to sleep. I didn't even realize that I fell asleep.
Yeah.
When I woke up, I was like, "Oh wow, this is working," And after like a 20-minute session or so, like I would feel a lot better, and I'm like my mind wouldn't be racing over all the, well, what did I do wrong or what could I have done better, and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
it put me at ease, and it really put me in a place where I could start to grow.
Yeah.
uh, I've also done the scripting thing since you told me about it. Like that's kind of how I plan my days now. Like my days off when I don't have my son and we're not out
Yeah.
at parks and stuff all day long. When I have that free time, and I'll just sit down in the morning, like because I wake up super early, go for a run, and then I'll get home and I'll just sit there and write out, well, what could I do today that would make me really happy? And
Mm-hmm.
I just script it out, and then I follow it. I follow it like it's a movie script, like dead ass. And that's really honestly been so huge and beneficial that I mean I feel like I've gotten a lot done in the last couple of months. It feels like it's been like years, honestly,
Yeah.
because of how like the leaps and bounds and how much I've accomplished. So like without those things, I feel like I would have been like spinning my wheels or like constantly stuck in that mental mindset of the past and scrolling through the pictures and scrolling through the memories. Now I just delete them
Yeah, it's
because
done.
we don't need any of that. So
Look at how far you've come.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Meditation's really powerful. My kids actually fall asleep to meditation every night. They cannot
nice.
go to sleep without, like, wait a minute, where's my meditation? I'm like, okay, chill. But I do a lot of like quantum leap meditations at night. And I intentionally, like, they're like 8 hours long. So like I can fall asleep to them and just like have that keep going throughout. I put my phone under my pillow.
Oh
I'm sure
wow,
there's like,
nice.
I know I probably shouldn't be doing that. My phone should be on the other side of the room or like in another room, in a different life. We'll get there.
Radiation and whatnot.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're all gonna die anyway.
we're
It's fine.
yeah, nice.
Um, okay, I think that wraps up this episode. I would love to hear all of your feedback. I've been getting really great feedback from my friends in text messages, and I was like, this is really nice. Have you been getting feedback?
Yeah, I have. So like a really really good friend of mine, Ben, actually hit me up about the time whenever I was living with him and Melissa, and he was like, "Man, I had no idea that you were going through all that and feeling all that." And it really actually brought us, kind of closer again. And I told him, like, without you and Melissa, I don't know where I'd be from that time in my life. And that was really nice to hear because he's been a huge positive role model in my life. A lot of what I've tried to do in the past kind of emulated their life and stuff like that. And that might not be the best idea, but like you have to identify people that are positive in your
Yeah.
life. And honestly, I haven't spent enough time with him and his wife and his kids, and I really do miss him a lot. But like he really having that feedback and him knowing my side of everything now, because like me, I'm a very reserved person, and I'm not gonna outright tell you, hey man, like without you, I wouldn't be here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's true. It is
You have
true.
to do
And
that.
it's nice hearing that. So,
That's so
but I
good.
think that's all for the day.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, you
So-
guys. Please rate the podcast, share with us on social media, follow us at the Sibling Trap, and we will see you next week.
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.